to the Dawgs podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Dawgs podcast live stream from the Bowling with Browns Legends live event here at Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio, presented by the Tuscarawas County Browns backers. Me, Josh All, he's Justin Charles, and there's no Blake Reneker here today, although if you come down here, you're going to see his face on all the tables. He was good enough to drop off a couple business cards, you know, for his real estate and all that kind of stuff, but had some plans today, could not get with us for the show. So Justin and me holding it down today. It's starting to fill up here. We've got a lot of former Browns players, alumni that are going to be here today. We're going to have some guys sit down with us, talk about, I don't know, whatever we get into, the current Browns team, their perspective, their takes on some things. We'll talk about their playing days, probably get some good stories. It's just going to be a good time. There's going to be obviously a lot of bowling taking place behind us. It doesn't really kick off until noon, so I don't really know when people are going to start throwing balls down the lanes, but it could get a little loud in here. So hopefully you guys can hear us okay. I'll have to pull up the live chat on my phone here in a second to make sure you guys aren't telling us we're silent or anything like that. So just kind of go through here today. Who's going to be here? We got Mike Pruitt, Greg Pruitt, Felix Wright, Travis Tucker, Anthony Griggs, Ralph Hawley, Sugar Dre, Donovan, and Clayton Callender. We'll all be here, like I said, at Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio, for meet and greets, autographs, bowling with everybody. I'm just trying to see if anything's getting started here. All right, I think we're still good, but Justin's pulling it up. All right, man.
I got you, brother.
Sweet. All right. Oh, advertisement on YouTube.
Always,
what a bummer.
You know.
So it's going to be a fun day. I think, Justin, your back's still broken?
Yes. Yeah. I went to the doctor. It's not technically broken, but it just hurts really bad. It's fine. It's no big deal. I have no audio complaints on YouTube.
Okay, good. How about video? I mean,
video looked good.
I will say this to anybody who's watching right now as we kick this thing off here today. Wi-Fi capability here at the bowling alley, not the greatest. So if we are buffering, cutting in and out, the stream isn't smooth, that's why. And if it's just unbearable to watch or whatever, we're obviously recording the whole thing, so it'll be back out everywhere for you guys to catch after we are finished. So I'm just going to bring this up, but what do you want to talk about here, Justin, while we kind of kick this whole thing off?
Well, I mean, obviously, if you're in the Dover and New Philly area of Ohio, T County, come on down to the Wabash Lanes. Come and hang out with us. We're going to be here for probably a few hours. Anything particular you'd like to dive into before you get started that has made the news?
Well, before we do that, I see we do have one comment here. James McGee, thanks for watching, says, was seriously considering driving from Charlotte to come up to the events. So couldn't talk the wife into it. We were talking about that before the show.
That's what we do.
The wife, it's always nice to float the ideas by her, but in the end, no. Usually doesn't work. But I just hope everyone has a great time. Go Browns. Yeah, so, we're going to get some opinions from some of these former players today on the current state of the Browns. Obviously, we'll talk the quarterback situation. We'll be talking about, the rookies, some of the recent speculation. I know we can kind of mention it here real quick. I think Daniel Jeremiah was on, I'm not really sure what outlet he was on the other day, but they were asking him about the Browns quarterback situation, and he said that his strong opinion is that one of the two rookies will start week one.
Wow.
Like right out of the gate, and his justification for it was, the Browns can't really screw around this year. They have got to figure out what they have, if anything, out of the two rookies before they head into next offseason, because next draft season we got 2 first-round picks. We need to know, are we using one or potentially both of those first-round picks on a quarterback or not? Or do we have our guy? So, he was saying that Kenny Pickett's the odd man out in his opinion, gone.
I agree with that.
And, rather than having the Browns start Joe Flacco, kind of like we've been talking about, and then organically moving into one of the rookies once that, happens on its own, he's saying just kind of have Joe Flacco on the bench as your backup plan in case things go really bad. Neither rookie can do anything. We're not competent. We suck. We're losing games. And then just, inject some Flacco to bring a little life to the team if necessary. But that was his take on it, was start a rookie, whichever one shows out better in camp from day one.
I just would be very, very surprised by that.
Me too.
I would be very, very surprised, especially you got a guy, even though he's, in his 40s, he's old, and Joe Flacco, he's comfortable, I would say, in that system. My biggest concern was just throwing a rookie out there on week 1 is that you throw them out there too early, and they're not ready. And then we've talked about it. Let's say you throw him out there. Let's say you throw Dylan Gabriel out there week 1, and he struggles. There's a really good chance he doesn't ever get back to being the starting quarterback again. And especially, like, the thing that's rough for me is I've watched this happen so many times with this team where, even when we're like, we're not going to play the rookie, we always end up getting to the rookie at some point. And I think that we've kind of maybe damaged confidence of some of those players. Maybe their futures in the NFL potentially. But I do want one of those guys to be successful. I want one of those guys to be the franchise guy. I think you have to like kind of tiptoe it just a little bit. You don't want to throw them in there too early and then destroy their confidence and then maybe lose out on something that could have worked out.
I mean, very rarely do you see a rookie quarterback start week 1 for an NFL team as rookie season outside of a first-round pick.
Correct.
Right? You don't really, especially once you get past where these guys, I mean, late 3rd for Dylan, 5th round for Shedeur, and the only thing that is different, and I think this is why it's such a polarizing topic with Browns fans and the media, national media, and everybody is Shedeur Sanders is widely regarded as not a 5th round pick. He was widely regarded as a talent, widely regarded as a first round talent. So do you have a first round talented quarterback from the 5th round on your roster right now? And I think he's just not your average 5th round pick. If it was Dylan Gabriel and Will Howard, we got him in the late 5th or the 6th where the Steelers got him or whatever. Now you're talking, okay, we've got 2 rookies, but I mean, let's face it, they're both mid to late round guys. Shedeur's not that.
Right.
At least in the minds and the eyes of most talent evaluators and obviously all the fans.
I think this had the potential eventually with them taking 2 rookie quarterbacks to blow up into a big situation. The fact that, because as Browns fans, we would have talked about this regardless. Like you said, if it was Howard, Howard.
Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, I think regardless, we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be arguing about this. This is what we do as a fan base. You know what I mean? Who's the guy? Who's the quarterback? We still are looking 30 years later. Now you throw in Shedeur Sanders with a fan base and, the dude is a polarizing player. And so now you have almost like 2 sets of fans. You got one, cheering for Shedeur, hoping that he's successful. You've got another set saying, maybe it's Gabriel, maybe it's Flacco. It's just a lot of...
There's some picketeers out there, for sure.
I don't know how many of those
I see them. I see them in the comments. Oh, yeah.
I'm not there yet.
If you're a picketeer and you're watching right now, drop it in the comments. Let us know.
I'd be interested. I would.
I think Kenny Pickett has the lowest touchdown rate of any quarterback in the last 25 years or something like that, if I remember. I heard this stat on another show, and I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was something like that. Like
super encouraging.
Yeah, like his touchdown rate in Pittsburgh, and I get it. Blake will always say, the Matt Canada offense, Pittsburgh, they sucked those years and everything. I mean, at some point, you still got to be able to throw a touchdown pass, you would think, and he just never was really able to. But we'll kind of see how that goes. And then another thing that you said, I said polarizing situation. You said polarizing with Shedeur, and I've had people in the comments say, I can't believe you guys would call Shedeur polarizing. Like, that's just hater talk. Let's talk about what the definition of polarizing is. Polarizing means that there is such a wide range of opinions on a topic or a person or what have you, and like you said, from all the way to fans are saying, he's QB1 right now, put him in, he's ready to go. And then there's fans saying he's a 5th round pick, he's not. There's people saying cut him.
I literally saw the cut stuff, and I was just like...
Polarizing is just the widest range of opinions you can possibly get about a topic, and that's what he is. I mean, he brings that, and I think that, ever since he's got to Cleveland, and he came early, he came like immediately. He's been here the entire time. He's been working his tail off. He's been participating so much in the community, helping out with a lot of youth, going to schools and youth programs and things like that. It's been really encouraging. And then, obviously you get the 2 speeding tickets or whatever, and everybody blows up online.
That's what I mean, do we want to even touch on that? We can. I mean,
we're sitting here waiting for this event to kick off, so we might as well just do a...
I did see some of those comments where it's like, the Browns need to cut him right now. And so I'm not going to defend nor, I'll just say it how it is. I was young once.
Sure.
I made mistakes once, And hopefully the goal that you get out of that is that you learn from those mistakes Now like the 2 tickets in 11 days, it doesn't look good. It kind of is a bad look, but we're talking about a young man here, and we're allowed to make mistakes. At the end of the day, it could have ended very differently, but there was nothing consequential that came out of this. And if it's an opportunity for him to learn and go, okay, hey, I can't do this, then what should we? Why are we upset?
Right. Miles Garrett, I think 4 times or 6? Was it 6 speeding incidences with Miles until he finally flipped his car?
Yeah, right.
Lucky that him and his his girlfriend or the passenger with him was they were fine. They weren't hurt.
Yep.
No one died. I mean, I don't live in Cleveland, so I don't drive those highways. I've seen a lot of people in comments saying, hey, like, sometimes you got to go 85 just to keep up with traffic. Right. And I mean, hey, I've been on highways where it's a 65 speed limit, and all of a sudden I'm doing 80, 85 just to kind of keep up or get past some people.
Just did it.
Well, if you're keeping up at 85, it's real easy to get to 100. There's a lot of context that goes around with this stuff. It's not just that he was out there speed racing like Rashee Rice or anything like that. Right. I think it's a big nothing burger.
It sucks. It sucks that I felt like momentum was completely going like his direction.
And I think that's another point. So that's a good point. So I did say that on social media, and I don't know if it was conveyed exactly the way I meant it, but he just has, while this is not, in my opinion, a big deal, he just has less room for mistakes, I feel like, because of where he was drafted, kind of the way the Browns are, they're really in on Dylan Gabriel. I have no idea really how they feel about Kenny Pickett. We'll find out here if they trade him, in the coming weeks. And if they roll into training camp with all 4 of these guys, every little thing you can do to give yourself an edge, you got to do right now. And I guess that was just the most disappointing thing for me. And it wasn't just, it's a speeding ticket. It sucked that it had to be anything, because now obviously every news outlet runs with it. Correct. And, should the Browns cut him and all this other nonsense. So
things like this happen. Honestly, I'll be shocked if I think Shedeur is locked in. You know what I mean? Like he's on a rookie quarterback deal. I think he's on our roster unless something changes. Maybe I don't see the Browns trading him, honestly, unless it's hard to tell. We're talking about June 21st today. Yep. We have a lot of time to go, but I see Gabriel and Shedeur both being on this team moving forward, and then like we talked about right off the bat, you got to find out what you got a little bit with these guys, because you're on a ticking clock. I do think Flacco starts off just at the beginning, maybe 4 to 6 games, and then I think you get a slice of what each of these guys can do. I don't see Kenny being here. I've watched Kenny Pickett play multiple times. You know what I mean? I've seen him play a lot, pretty decent amount, and you don't hear anything coming out of camp or any of the OTAs or anything really about Kenny, other than like mainstream Cleveland media where they're saying like he's the number 1, which I'm like, when I watch stuff, I'm seeing a lot of Shedeur highlights. I'm seeing Flacco, here and there. He's not really doing a lot either.
He hasn't had a lot of opportunity either.
I think they're just kind of letting him just relax and just go with the flow of the thing. But I do think they've got to see if they got a guy heading into next year's draft, but don't ruin either one of these guys.
Right. And the veterans on the team, we've talked about this before. We talked to Joe Thomas on the show like last month, and the veterans, Joel Bitonio, the Wyatt Tellers, the Myles Garretts, these guys, they want to win games. Like, they're not going out there and going through the rigors of the NFL, regular season schedule, the wear and tear on your body, just to suck every week. That's where you saw last year, like the body language on the field. Everybody, you could just tell they were not bought in. They hated what was going on. And, if Joe Flacco gives you the best opportunity to avoid that, at least to start the season, it'd be nice to start out strong. But again, who knows? Maybe one of the rookies just balls out in training camp, and it makes sense to do it that way. But we'll see what ends up happening. Before we talk about anything else here, we'll take a little break here in a few minutes and try to get a couple players down here to talk with us, seeing if everybody's ready to go. I just want to thank Omaha Steaks for sponsoring this live stream today. They sponsored the entire live stream. We appreciate that. Head to omahasteaks.com. You guys get packages and all the food you can get for 4th of July cookouts, because it's coming up quick, and it's the best time to grill out. And right now you can get 50% off site-wide, and then use our promo code BARK, B-A-R-K, when you check out, and you'll get $45 extra off your order. on top of that 50% off. So it's a great sale, great time to get in there and get some Omaha steaks. So thanks to them for sponsoring the show. Oh, let's see. There was a couple comments in here. Echo That Media says he's talking about Shedeur, will be QB1. He is already the number 1 selling jersey for Cleveland and was 77% completion. Yes, very polarizing. If we're talking completion percentage in OTAs and minicamp,
I think he's talking about
if he's talking about in college, yes, his college
Huge.
completion percentage is
Huge.
very impressive. And we've seen guys who come into the NFL with bad completion percentages. And really, there's only been 2 guys that have worked out, and it's been Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Sure. They both had like 50-some% in college completion percents, and worked at it. Yes, and then you're talking. And the thing with both of those guys is they had other abilities to offset it, at least to start.
Yeah.
But even a guy like Anthony Richardson, who has that athletic ability to offset his poor completion percentage from college, you saw that translate immediately to the NFL. He sucks. He can't complete anything. I mean, at least for his first 2 years, which was still kind of limited action because he was hurt and stuff. So most of the time, bad completion percentage in college does translate to bad completion percentage in the NFL. Shedeur's got the best.
Yeah.
The best. And, you know, Tony Grossi was talking how Dylan Gabriel, he's got the tighter spiral. He can put the ball kind of like, what was he, like slinging the ball or whatever. But man, Shedeur can layer the ball.
Yeah.
Like some of his throws that I've seen, even just through the minicamp stuff on the highlights, it's touch.
Yeah, touch.
It's so nice.
Pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah.
Drop it where you want it, which I think would work in a Kevin Stefanski offense.
Yeah.
I've heard different things too from a couple of different media, Cleveland Browns stuff, where they're saying, Gabriel's almost got an advantage on the playbook too, like as far as like his knowledge and the verbiage and stuff like that. That's like another thing for me where I'm like, I don't even look at it like as a disadvantage. We have a month before the next organized, what camp? Is it just rookies coming in, right?
So training camp, the rookies come July 18th, and then the veterans come 4 days later on the 22nd.
Okay. I mean, that's some time to work on some things and look at the playbook and get the verbiage figured out. And so, and who knows, maybe Gabriel takes a step forward and you have a legit, real competition at this thing here in the next 5-6 weeks.
The thing between these two, and I think this is a good conversation to have, we talked about how outside of first-round picks, you don't really see these rookie quarterbacks start week 1 or be ready for the NFL or at that level. With Gabriel, he was actually evaluated by the pre-draft analysts and everything as a 3rd or 4th, maybe even 5th, who depends on who you're talking to, round talent.
Right.
Whereas Shedeur was not. Right. I mean, nobody said he was a 5th-round talent.
Not a chance.
Like we talked about last episode, maybe early 2nd-round talent at the worst.
At the worst,
was like the worst assessment anybody gave him. So I think he might have an edge as far as that stuff is concerned. Now, through OTAs and minicamp, I did see those reports that Gabriel just had, like you said, a better grasp of the playbook, the concepts and all that kind of stuff, which is more why Shedeur was on the separate practice field taking all the reps. Like he took pretty much 100% of reps on his field.
Right.
It was against the backups. But if the Browns saw that and said, okay, we like what we see with his talent, we just need to make sure he's up to speed with whatever it is, breaking the huddle, calling plays in the huddle, coming up to the line, evaluating the defense from, behind under center, all that kind of stuff. Well, he got a heck of a lot of reps at minicamp to work on that, which I think is good. And minicamp was really to prepare these guys for training camp.
I think when everything's said and done, I think just as Browns fans, we just want to see one of those two, I guess both those rookies, we want to see some context with it. You know what I mean? We don't. I don't want to. If it's the end of camp or we're going into preseason games and stuff, and we're still not seeing anything with like Shedeur, even like I'd like to see him get on the first team. I'd like to see him with the starters. And same with Gabriel. I'm excited to go up to camp. I can't wait to get up to camp and at least finally get some like unbiased, just my own eyes on it and see what we're doing up there. Now, who knows? Maybe the Browns, by the time they open it up to media, who knows what that looks like or what we're doing up there. But I just would like to see both those guys in person.
Oh, definitely, man. Did you get your eyes on the situation? Because we're just relying on reports from maybe all these other people that don't always provide context. with what they're seeing. And it sucks because we're really trying to sift through the weeds to figure out what's a good takeaway and what's kind of a throwaway. And I don't know, but I think it's just such an interesting situation for the Browns. 4 guys that could legitimately, I mean, depending on who you're talking to, be the week 1 starter.
I've heard every answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've heard you hear Flacco. I mean, like, I think a general part of the fan base probably wants Flacco at the beginning.
Absolutely.
You know, we're living off 2023 dreams and stuff, which that's fine. You know, if that works at the time, cool. But, you know, I've heard the other 3 too. You know, I've heard, hey, you know, I think Kenny. I'm like, oh, okay. But, you know, with the rookies, I'm like, it would make sense. I could see Shedeur being a starter. And if he goes out and really, 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 like, absolutely excels before week 1, maybe they slide him into week 1, but I think it's an uphill battle for, you know, getting to that point.
Oh, I mean, let me ask you this, because, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there listening that have asked this question before and everything, but do you think the Browns did themselves any bit of disservice here by drafting 2 rookies and piling up 2 first-round picks next year? I mean, because you talked about putting rookies out there before they're ready, and how that happens, but the Browns are almost in a situation where whether they're ready or not, they're going to have to get them out there. So it's almost like there's extra pressure on these guys to be ready, even if they're not, and there's extra pressure on the Browns to force them out there to potentially make those same mistakes they've made in years past. What do you think about that?
I know, for me personally, and I'm not saying the Browns, but for me personally, I pounded the table to get some friggin' quarterback competition in this room, because I walked away from last year going, this isn't it. Yeah. This isn't what I can't sit here and watch this for another 16 games or 17 games, you know. So I'm glad that they did this. I do think that it came to them kind of weird, because I don't think they plan on taking 2 quarterbacks in the draft. I really don't. And I think Shedeur just kind of fell to a point where you're like, this is insane not to, you know, like, your return on talent, to not take him in the 5th round. Like, it grows to a point where you just have to be like, this is a no-brainer. What are we doing here, guys? Yeah. Especially if the kid is a stud and he can go out there and be your franchise quarterback, you know, for the next 10 years. That's everything that we've ever wished for as Browns fans. We just want stability at the quarterback position. But in a way, it feels messy. You know what I mean? It feels messy from a fan perspective. I know the Cleveland media, it's painted very messy. You have a lot of people that aren't fans of the Browns going, or even maybe they are Browns fans, saying, why would we ever bring 4 quarterbacks in for a competition like this? And you're going, because of last year. And because it was so disastrous, you have to find a guy. And I think they traded 2 just to potentially look for a guy next year. The writing's on the wall there.
It is. It's and to anybody who's still, again, saying, hey, guys, you know, enough with the quarterback conversation. Nope, not going to happen, guys. We're going to be talking about this all summer and probably, honestly, all season. It's going to be the driving topic of conversation for the Browns, because it's the most important position in sports. It's the position that we cannot get right for 30-plus years or whatever it's been. It's been freaking ridiculous. And it's what it is. I mean, we're going to be talking about it. I almost feel kind of bad. I do feel a little bit bad for Dylan Gabriel, because, you know, by all accounts, great kid, hard worker, driven. You know, the Browns deeply investigated into his abilities and his fit with this team, and they handpicked him as the guy. And,
that was their guy.
You know, like you said, I don't think they planned on taking 2, because they punted on Shedeur so many times that any other team could have taken him. And they would have been okay with it, obviously, because they didn't take him. Right. Until it got to a point, like you said, where the value was just too much to pass up. But, you know, he's coming in here, and it just, if he really is that first-round talent that everybody said he was, I mean, that's the guy you got to hope can live up to that billing.
It's crazy. If he is that guy, he just potentially, no matter what happens next year, saved Andrew Berry's job. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, I know we're all saying, hey, the pick was traded at 2, and there's long-term guarantee as far as job stability with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. But if you're able to land a franchise quarterback in the 5th round, despite all the salary cap stuff, like, that's almost like a San Francisco situation. You know what I mean? Where you're getting Brock Purdy super late, not as late as, you know, the 7th, but as far as just the contract goes, it saves so much on the dead cap and even just the cap in general when you're trying to battle against a Watson expiring contract that is just.
We'll be paying on the Watson contract for years.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way they spread it out, and I think Jack Duffin has updated, and I think I need to update also my expectations because I've been saying what Jack's been saying because I trust in him.
Yeah.
About how the Browns will restructure or however it works to split it over 2 more years, 2 more void years, but cut him in as a post June 1st designation in March 2026. There, got it all out.
Right.
Now he's saying after they just restructured a few months ago for this season, that's going to push that situation out till 2027. So March 2027 is when he can be cut. So he'll be here next year and healthy. I mean, assuming, right, that, everything's cool with the Achilles recovery and everything, but it just makes the whole thing messier.
One thing real quick. Hi, Sophia. Just want to say hi. Blake's daughter's watching.
Yeah, so we are not allowed to curse on today's show. We weren't planning on it anyway too much. We'll see what these other guys want to do.
Do you remember when I joked around with you guys, like maybe 2 months ago, when Watson was putting out the workout videos and all this stuff, and I was like, is there a potential that this guy is on the roster still down the road? And we kind of made the decision like, yeah, probably not, right? If it's next year, what do you do? Because you can't just, hey, handshake deal, go on IR.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if he's healthy, is there a team that's going to trade for him? Probably not, especially when there's a ton of dead cap attached to it. Or I guess it depends on how that all works out.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a Jack question. But, man, you want to talk about how it's crazy and, like, polarizing and tons of media coverage now. Imagine next year when you still have Shador, Watson's in the room, probably adding another quarterback, in the draft in the first round.
That's a great point because
messy.
Tony Grossi, I think, it was Grossi, was on a show the other day or something and said that, in his opinion, the franchise quarterback for the Browns is in next year's draft.
I saw your post on that.
And it's not anybody that's on the roster right now. And his projection was next year would be a first-round pick at quarterback in the room, along with Gabriel and Shador. But you're right. If we're not able to part ways financially, cap hit-wise with Watson until 2027, that would be 4 quarterbacks next year. And how can you allocate? Because the thing is, like with Watson, you can't waive him and then put him on the practice squad and all that kind of stuff because of the contract. So he has to stay on the team, on the active roster. That is going to get hairy because then you won't be able to this is if like Shador or Gabriel don't work out this year because you can't keep both those guys and invest a first-round pick in a guy and have 4 guys on the roster. Someone's got to go.
All I'm doing is just laying down the foundation of what next year's confusion is going to look like. Dysfunction. That's pretty much what it is, which would be par for the norm.
So basically, outside of Gabriel or Shador, hopefully, taking the reins this year and showing that, yes, they are the franchise guy, yes, they're the future, we can move forward with one of them at quarterback, it's just going to get messier.
Yeah.
Or potentially get messier and just,
Can't wait. Can't wait.
Well, for anybody new tuning in, we are live today from Wabash Lanes in New Philadelphia, Ohio for the Bowling with Browns Legends event. And we got people lining up here getting ready to start throwing some balls, it looks like. Nobody's bowling yet, but again, the event just started about 20 minutes ago officially, so I think everybody's coming in doing some meet and greets and all that kind of stuff. Tuscarawas County Browns backers, want to thank them for putting on this event. This is awesome. They've been doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, great
lately.
stuff.
So we're going to have some guys, some former Browns players sit down and talk with us, talk with you guys, share their opinions on the team, and just probably share some of their stories and stuff as well. Again, if you're local to this area, come on down.
Yeah, come
Wabash
down.
Lanes. I think actually bowling on the lanes was by reservation, but they may have a lane or two later in the day that opens up where you could get on and bowl. But anybody can come down, get some autographs. There's autograph packages and all kinds of
prizes.
things. Get some pictures.
The
raffles.
prizes, the raffle prizes over there are insane.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I guess I could read through some of those. I
saw my Nick Chubb mini that I took up for Rich sitting up there. So that definitely is up there.
Let me just see if I can. Well, I'll pull it up here in a minute, but let me see if anybody looks like they're about ready to come on over. Maybe we'll talk here for a few more minutes and stuff like that. But I guess we could have a wide receiver conversation. I feel like we do that on every show, but it's important because outside of Judy, who again, 1 year, awesome that he did it one time. He's had a 117 game stretch of being elite in his 5-year career.
Yeah.
We're going to need a repeat of that for sure from him to justify that top spot like we have. But Cedric Tillman at the 2, the dude just doesn't stay healthy, man. Like he's not been on the field when really we need him for a stretch. And like Blake says all the time, that goes back to college. He was injury
history. Yep.
So
I like that.
Sounds like we're getting started over here. We'll just take a quick break, guys, and then we'll be back on here in a few minutes. Just give us a second.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dawgs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at the Dawgs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedawgspodcast.com.